My Lords, while Pakistan's judicial processes are, of course, a matter for Pakistan, we are clear that the Pakistani authorities need to respect fundamental freedoms, including the right to a fair trial, due process, humane detention and access to appropriate medical treatment. This applies to Imran Khan, as it does to all Pakistan citizens. Ministers and officials have regularly raised with Pakistani counterparts the need to uphold Pakistan's constitution and international human rights obligations, including with respect to Imran Khan.
I thank my right honourable friend for her answer. As she will be aware, there are a number of parliamentary questions outstanding on this matter, given the deterioration in Imran Khan's health recently. And I'm aware of how FCDO have been particularly responsive to the case of Jimmy Lai and his family, and in that context it would be helpful if my right honourable friend would commit to meeting with Imran Khan's family and specifically raising his case with the government of Pakistan. Thank you.
Well, I thank my noble friend for that question. Obviously there is an important difference in the case between Jimmy Lai and Imran Khan, and clearly that is because Jimmy Lai is British, and we have specific responsibilities and obligations towards our citizens that, whatever else we might think about these cases, that don't apply in the same way when we're talking about somebody of a different nationality. But I can assure my noble friend that ministers and officials have raised in the appropriate way, as she would want them to do, our concerns about cases when we need to, including the case of Imran Khan.
Conservative.
We understand, I think anyone who's paying attention, we understand that Imran Khan has been denied access to lawyers, he's been denied access to his family, including his two sons who are my nephews, he's been denied access even to doctors, and we understand that he's spent much of his time in prison in solitary confinement, and his health is deteriorating rapidly. So I asked the noble lady whether or not she agrees that this is now the time for us to reconsider our aid contributions to Pakistan. Pakistan's often at the top of the list in terms of recipients of UK aid, until that country's government demonstrates a clear, unambiguous commitment to the Charter, the Commonwealth Charter that it signed up to, which commits it to an independent judiciary and to the rule of law.
Yeah. It's important, and we maintain this position for all of those held in prison, that people do get access to healthcare and to their families, and we think we've made that case, and we will continue to make that case, because that is consistent with the position of this government and the previous government as well, and we'll continue to do that. He asks about our development spending. He will know, obviously, that we made a decision around this time last year to cut our development spending by around 40%, and we will be making further announcements about the detail of that and what will be happening in which countries and what it will be spent on very, very shortly.
Well, in addition to the health concerns of Imran Khan, the Pakistan government also prosecuted and sentenced many opposition figures who demonstrated against the government. And there is significant worry about the extent of the state capture of the Pakistan economy, of the military. In the trade dialogue, the UK-Pakistan trade dialogue, which was announced in July last year, there was regrettably no reference to human rights. So can the Minister reassure the House that in our trading relationship, we are recognising human rights as a critical part of that, and we are not offering preferential market access to the very military enterprises that are committing human rights concerns?
We have very real concerns about the use of military courts and the lack of transparency in the way that they operate and their inappropriate use. And we do discuss this, as he would want us to do, with the government of Pakistan. I think that having a flourishing trading relationship is a very helpful thing when it comes to being able to raise effectively these matters, and I take on board completely his point about our need to make sure that human rights are integral when we make these decisions.
My Lords, just following on from the question of my noble friend Lord Goldsmith.
Keep going. Yeah. We have plenty of time. We'll leave the noble Lord first, then we'll come to the Labour benches.
No, thank the Chief Whip. Following on from the question of my noble friend Lord Goldsmith, specific facilitation can be done. The noble lady, the Minister, for whom many in the House, if not all, have great respect, can practically help to facilitate the access for British citizens. Suleiman and Qasim, the sons of Imran Khan, are British citizens. So I'd ask the noble lady to please use her best offices to ensure that facilitation of two sons meeting their father can be done, particularly as he's now receiving the most acute and important medical treatment that he needs on the decision of the courts of Pakistan, to ensure that medical attention is also supported by family access of his own two sons.
Well, we would wish that those imprisoned, particularly when they are undergoing such intensive medical treatment, as I believe has happened, and I think an operation took place in January, which I believe to have been successful, and there's been further treatment since. But to have access, whether that's through visits or other means, to family members is very important, obviously, at times like that. This is slightly complicated by the fact, clearly, as he will appreciate, that decisions around the immigration system into Pakistan are controlled by the Pakistani government. But we would make the case in a general sense that when somebody is held in this way, that actually access to family, and that is something that that we would want to see happen for anybody held in these sorts of circumstances.
My Lords, successive governments show selective outrage at repression by authoritarian states such as China, Iran, Russia and North Korea, but very soft criticism when identical acts are committed by trade and defence partners. The government has the tools. It can exert pressure on the army generals controlling Pakistan by ending aid and imposing trade sanctions, but it hasn't. So my question for the Minister is, can she refer me to any moral principle which is guiding the government's foreign policy?
I don't think it would be the right thing to do to end all aid to Pakistan. The government, that is not the government's position, and that's my view. And I say that because the need is there, because the British interests are there, because the climate impact is there, because of counter-terrorism issues that we work alongside the Pakistani government to tackle, which I would say is absolutely in the interests of this country.
Pakistan does have a history of imprisoning their prime ministers or former prime ministers, whether it was the late Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, who was imprisoned and then ultimately hanged, or Nawaz Sharif, who was also serving time in prison. And in the case of Nawaz Sharif, in November 2019, the UK government did allow Nawaz Sharif to come to the United Kingdom to receive medical treatment. So my question to the Minister is, if the family and the party members of Imran Khan were to put a similar request in, what would His Majesty's government's response be?
I'm not able to answer that question today. That obviously would be a question that the Home Office would want to consider according to our immigration policy. But I would just remind Noble Lords, in case anybody gets the idea that Pakistan is the only country with which we have concerns about rule of law and democracy, and that we do close business with around the world. I mean, there are many places, sadly, where former leaders do find themselves imprisoned, and we don't condone it, but we have a relationship with Peru, for example, for many important reasons to do with security and the environment. But we are not in a situation where we only conduct international relations with countries that adhere completely to our values and run their countries in the way that we would like to see ours run.
My Lord, Noble Lady, the Minister is of course quite right that Imran Khan is not a British subject, despite his long and deep connections to this country. Nonetheless, I don't think that any British government can be indifferent to the fate of Pakistan, Commonwealth ally to which we are intimately linked. There are 1.5 nearly million Brits of Pakistani origin. The reason that Imran Khan is in prison is because he would win a free election. And Pakistan can't begin to have stability and the investment that would flow from that until there is a restoration of democracy. So will the Noble Lady, the Minister, set out some kind of timetable whereby we're encouraging the authorities in Pakistan to allow a free and inclusive election, maybe not tomorrow, but within a reasonable timetable which will allow the return of democratic stability and the economic revival of that country?
Well, we do have concerns that I know the Noble Lord shares about the election in 2024, and we do raise these with the government of Pakistan. But one of the reasons it's important that we keep our trade, but also our development relationship with Pakistan thriving, is that we are able to work specifically on these issues of democratic engagement, about inclusive politics, about the rule of law. These things matter a great deal to us, and we're able to work through civil society organisations and directly with regional governments too on to try and improve the situation for the very reasons that he articulated so effectively.